Hello everyone, thanks for joining us today. My name is Franklin and today we'll be looking at the if function and the ifs functions. The if function is a conditional statement or is a probability statement of which two possible outcomes are expected. Alright, now as you can see, the if statement itself is a possibility or probability statement. Alright, it depends on probability in the sense that there's a condition that must be met for either of the possible outcomes to take place. For instance, if I say that there will be no class tomorrow, if what you want to ask is what is that if? What is that condition? What is that thing that must happen for us not to have a class or for us to have a class? So that is what the if function is used for. It is used to design a template, a customer loyalty, a customer rebate template. Right? When you hear T's and C's apply, this is what is used to design the T's and C's. Okay? And in the if functions, there's usually what we call the logical statement. It is that must be met for a particular condition or an outcome to take place, right? So in this first instance, we are saying give any customer 20% discount if the value of what he or she purchased is from 50,000 naira and above, right? Now we have written our if functions. Now let us supply our syntax. And the first thing to supply is our logical statement, which is what has been stated already, our logical test, which is saying if what customer bought, which is this, is greater than and equal to 50,000. That is a logical test. Now value if true is what will happen if this condition is met. And what will happen is that you give the customer 20% of what the customer bought. That is just it. And then value if false, which is if the customer does not purchase items worth 50,000, what do? The person gets a 0 discount. And then you close the function, hit the enter key, and you're done. Right? So let's autofill. When you do, you will see that for customer Daniel to purchase item that is worth less than 50,000, he never got any discount. That is why here it's empty and it is paying the full amount. On the other hand, for customer Serena and John, the items purchased were up to the benchmark amount, which is 50,000. That is why they are going home with the 20% discount and are paying less. Alright, so that is it. Now this if function can also be used to design a template that rewards customers not just with discount but with gift items. So let's assume those who purchase items worth 50,000 will get let's say 10k voucher, and then those who purchase items less than 50k will get let's say 2k voucher. Now let's write this and see how it will turn out to be. Equal sign, if function. Alright, then let's apply a syntax. Our logical statement is if what customer purchased is greater than or equal to 50,000, value if true. Now you have to put the gift item in an inverted comma. What are we giving them? 10k voucher. Remember to close the inverted comma. You put your comma and supply your value if false. Value if false will be what? 2k voucher. Remember, in inverted commas. It must be in inverted commas, right? And let's close our function and then hit enter. Now you can see that for those who purchase item worth less than 50k, they are getting only 2k voucher, while the big boys who purchase items worth 50k and above are getting 10k voucher. So that settles it for the if functions. Now let's look at the ifs function. Remember, the ifs is where we have more than one logical statement. So let's see how this works. Ifs function, the first logical test, or logical test 1, is if what customer purchased is greater than or equal to 50,000. Value if true will be what? 20% of what customer purchased. Now logical test 2 is if what customer purchased is greater than or equal to 30,000. Value if true, you give the person 8% times what customer purchased. Now because there's no logical test 3, you will now write the value if false. Now value if false will be for those, for if what customer purchased is less than 30,000, what will you give them? You give them a 0 discount and then you close it. Enter. Now let's see what happens. As you can see, for customer Daniels, he is enjoying the 8% discount because the items he bought is actually not up to 50k, but it's up to 30, right? Same happens to customer Andrew. Now let's introduce another customer, customer 8. All right, customer 8 is Tunde, and Tunde happens to bought items worth 25,000, or let's say 27,000. Now this customer Tunde will get no reward. He will get no reward because items purchased was less than 30,000, and then you have to pay the entire or the full amount of items purchased, which is 27,000. So that is how you use the if function and the ifs functions. Thank you so much for watching. I believe it is clear. Thank you.